Okay, Jen, I think we're ready to get started.
All set. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Jennifer Luarca. I am an academic coach at the Learning Center. So welcome. Today we're going to be talking mainly about time management and really kind of transitioning to an online learning platform. And in tomorrow's webinar, we are going to cover some of the classroom participation strategies and more of the study skills. So we'll have two different approaches between today and tomorrow. But welcome. The first thing I want to cover is it's really about your mindset right now and how you're approaching the challenges. Undoubtedly, there have been challenges with online learning last week, getting adjusted and just adapting to this new platform. And that's happening for everybody. But I want to point out that that is a skill you're going to need as a professional in the working world. So now is a chance for you to really hone that skill set, and that your mindset when you're facing challenges is going to be critical to your success as you are kind of hitting these hurdles. I know for us, even getting started today, we had a few hurdles in terms of launching this Zoom webinar, and it's really just about having the mindset of, oh, that's a challenge, but I can overcome it, and not, oh man, I'm not good at this. So framing things is really important as we start to move forward in this new kind of learning environment. And it's important to understand too that this learning environment is the primary one that you'll use in the professional setting. Most of us as professionals are doing online trainings, online modules, webinars to learn more. So you guys are lucky in that you get to kind of hone that skill set now and really develop those skills. So we will move forward now to our topics. And today we're really going to cover these first two bullet points: developing a learning schedule, focusing on time management, and then creating that helpful learning environment. And tomorrow's workshop will handle the last two bullet points and they'll focus there. Okay, so we'll move forward and start to talk about creating a learning schedule. So things are a little different now because things are so fluid. It's important to not over-plan and not to plan too far in the future. And that sounds kind of silly because typically my approach and what you hear often from professors and faculty is, you know, make a plan through the end of the semester. And we definitely want to keep our eye towards finals. So I would recommend keeping a monthly calendar with all of your due dates, exam dates, schedule that all out through the end of the semester. But as we're talking about creating a working schedule each week, I want you to just think Monday through Friday. Really kind of focus on the here and now, because we'll need to make adjustments each week as we learn more about ourselves and learning, and as we learn about the expectations of our faculty and some of our professors, okay? So I want you to start to think about your class schedule as a work week. It's really important that you have that frame of mind also. Many of you are probably not working anymore, so when you are attending lecture and then also studying, I want you to have that frame of mind that you're at work so that we can eliminate distraction and start to create boundaries around the learning environment, okay? What is recommended is, from a learning perspective, in terms of the way your brain stores information, trying to keep an every other day approach to seeing course content and working on course content is important. So if you have a Monday, Wednesday lecture that you're attending, I would highly recommend that you build in a Friday study session for that class, and then one study session on the weekend as well, Sunday or Saturday, either day. But we want to kind of see this content every other day as we move forward to keep it fresh in our minds, okay? And then when we're talking about creating our weekly schedules, of course, we want to refer to our syllabus, and the points that each item is worth should really drive the attention we give. So we want to prioritize items that have points like homework or quizzes or discussion boards. And we want to start to budget time in the week to schedule those things first. The reason being, yes, we need to study for exams, and that exams carry a lot of points, but I've seen a lot of students just in our regular learning in person I've seen students lose positive points when they've missed simple little assignments. And now more than ever, we'll have a lot more simple little assignments. So we want to make sure on a weekly basis when we're setting up our study schedule, we're checking in with the syllabus, getting those point items onto our schedule so that we're addressing and getting all of those points as much as possible, okay? And then once we have a firmed up study schedule, we want to share that with the people that we live with or share space with. So I know in my house, I have a husband working from home. I have a daughter who's learning from home. And it can seem, because we're physically in the space together, that we're available to each other all the time. But it's really important in terms of being productive with your study that you share, hey, I'm in class right now, or I'm studying, and set those boundaries with your housemates. Maybe even share schedules on, Sunday night, so everybody knows who's available and when, just to eliminate distraction if possible, okay? And like I said, we want to build out a study schedule for a week. And then at the end of that week, make adjustments for the following week. We're learning a lot right now. And adapting is really, really important to being successful with our use of time. But that means we have to leave room for change, which is hard sometimes. So we want to build in that reflection at the end of the week, make adjustments, and create a new weekly schedule moving forward, okay? And I do have a time management on our website at the Learning Center. If you go to academic coaching and then go to resources, we may be able to show you that at the end of this, just kind of a webcast, a screencast of that. But you can go to under time management, there is a grid that you can use, you're welcome to use to plan out your study schedule if you don't already have a template you're using, okay? And I forgot to mention a slide ago, if you have questions, you can feel free to type in your questions on each slide or things that come up, and I'm happy to address those as we go. I don't want you to hold your questions to the end because you may forget, right? Okay, so that's it with scheduling, creating that weekly schedule. Now I'm gonna shift gears and talk a little bit about prioritizing tasks. Because this becomes really, really important, especially when we're talking about points. And like I said, now more than ever, your grade is being driven by points, and you want to gather as many points as possible, doing all of the things that your professors are asking you to do, which most likely are going to incorporate a lot more quizzes, discussion board posts, homeworks, things in Dropbox. We don't want to lose track of those things. So on a weekly basis, you want to include those items on your weekly schedule and identify when they're due so that it's really clear and you don't forget to get those things in. Okay, I see someone asking if they'll get a copy of the slides. Yeah, I think you'll get a recording. So yeah, that's fine. Oh, Sonia, if you can go back to the last slide. Yeah, okay. So also when you're starting to prioritize, of course, the points that things are worth should drive how you prioritize your tasks. So the thing with the most points, you should focus on first, and so on. You want to, when you're looking at that, maybe even list out, okay, next week, what things do I have due? How many points are they worth? And then estimate the time that you need to accomplish those tasks. And that should translate into your weekly schedule. So this is a very logic-driven approach to time management. It's not, we're thinking very concretely about, I have to do this homework assignment. It's going to take me 2 hours. When during the week am I going to do that to make sure I get it in on my due date? Okay. Oh, back, Sonia. There we go. We want to also make sure we space out our study time throughout the week for exams. So for those items that are not, maybe we don't have major points due, but we need to study, then after we get the points in on the schedule, we then schedule time to study, okay? Read, look at notes, practice content, all of that stuff. Okay, and then an important point is, and I'll cover this in a few slides also, but we don't want to be scheduling study slots or work for longer than 2 hours. Beyond 2 hours, the research shows that we tend to lose focus significantly in a subject matter. So it would be better to schedule 2 hours of math and then 2 hours of English and then go back to 2 hours of math instead of 4 hours of math at once. Okay, so we want to switch subjects. That helps us with our focus. Okay, I'm ready for the next one, Sonia. All right, so I'm going to cover a couple of approaches to focus that are well-researched and supported by research. So the first one is this MIT method, most important task. This has to do with helping us hone our focus and focus also on prioritizing. So this approach really emphasizes the fact that you need to set or identify between 1 and 3 important tasks, whether this is in your day or whether this is in your week. So you could probably do this both ways. You can probably say for the week on your little schedule that you're going to create, list the 3 most important things that you want to focus on, and then that can translate into your daily work, okay? So what you would want to do is list those out concretely on a piece of paper and then have that drive your scheduling. So the items that you list should be focused on points. So the things that are worth the most points should get most of your attention for the week, okay? And then you schedule that out. And this approach is really emphasizing that you should be working in 30-minute increments during a 2-hour session. So work for 30 minutes, take a quick 5-minute break, work for 30 minutes again, take a quick 5-minute break until you hit that 2-hour mark, okay? This helps you focus your attention and be most productive on a small set of tasks that you have to accomplish. Limiting the amount of things that you're doing really helps drive your focus, okay? And when we have those items listed out, we would be maybe focusing on math. And then if we're not gaining traction in math, we would switch to English, right? Another one of those. Okay, and I see a few questions, so I'm gonna address those too. What is a good amount of time to take a break? We wanna take a quick break after about 30 minutes of studying. And if that's the case, if it's only been 30 minutes of studying, a quick like 5-minute break, a physical break where you stand up, sit down, go to the restroom, come back, get a drink of water. Just something short, no longer than 10 minutes. If you're studying for longer than 30 minutes without a break, then maybe say an hour, you can do a good like 10-minute break would be fine. And I'll cover that on the next slide a little bit also. And then I'm seeing a question from Rihanna. What if I have multiple high point items in 1 week? So there's more than 3 important tasks for the week. We would still want to set the highest priority on the highest point items. So you would have your top 3, but then you're also going to have to break that down in terms of course. So yeah, that adds a little bit more stress, but ideally you would see, okay, for my 3 courses, I have 1 highest priority task, and then I have these other tasks I can do if I finish these first ones, okay? So it may be more of a hierarchy. You might not have 3 only. You may have 3 major categories with 3 within each category. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, next slide. So MIT is really about focusing on, prioritizing tasks. The 90-minute focus sessions is another option for you. And this really is working with our ultraradian rhythms. As humans, we have rhythms to a lot of things that we do. We have rhythms to our sleep cycles, we have physical rhythms to our own bodies, and we also have rhythms to our focus. And those tend to be about 90 minutes of high focus, and then we tend to lose focus after that. So this approach to working is really identifying a task to accomplish, giving yourself 90 minutes of focused time, and then taking a break for 20 to 30 minutes after that. This might be a good approach for you if you have a lot more to do in terms of learning and reading because you need more time. So read, learn for about 90 minutes, and then take that 20 to 30 minute break. Okay. And again, this allows you focus time with periods of rest and recharge. It's really important because we're in this new learning platform. First of all, we're really exposing our eyes to a lot of blue light, which we know fatigues your eyes because it's a lot more photons for your eyes to filter. So already you're going to be more tired. Your eyes are going to feel it. Then also, we aren't used to just sitting in one spot or being closed up in one space for our entire day. So our tendency, I think initially, and I know I experienced this my first week working home, is that I jumped in at 8 and I just worked really hard.
And then around 2 or 3, I started to feel really tired. I hit that wall and I couldn't focus anymore. And the research shows that that's pretty consistent across the board with people working from home or learning from home, is that if we jump in and we stay with it without giving ourselves breaks and without focusing on that ultradian rhythm, then we tend to kind of burn out by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if that's what you've been experiencing, that's an indicator that you need to be building in more breaks throughout your day. So this 90-minute focus session, or even the MIT method, could be a really great way for you to focus on working for a little bit and then getting up and getting either some physical exercise, some exposure to natural light, and getting a snack, right? All of those things that we tend to forget about because we get absorbed on the screen. We need to really make sure we're building that in so that we are feeling like we can go for longer sessions, okay? Okay, if we can go to the next slide. So those are 2 approaches. They're by no means the only ones you should try, but I found those to be the most helpful for me, and ones that I think students can manage pretty easily that can fit into your life. So if you want to give those a shot, I think that they could be really helpful for you. So now that we've kind of covered the time management and managing our days, we're going to shift gears and focus a little more on the environment that we have for learning and what that should look like. So our learning environment should have as much natural light as possible. So if you could set yourself up near a window, that's going to be ideal. Again, the blue light, if we're just on the screen the entire time or the phone, that fatigues your eye really quickly. And when we're talking about building in breaks, it's important that your breaks are giving your eyes a chance to look at something that isn't technology or TV or giving yourself that artificial light. So we want to make sure that our learning environment can have the windows, the fresh air, even outside if possible. That would be good. And we know that natural light enhances productivity. It helps to stabilize the mood and reduce stress. So if you are feeling moody, which some of us might be, or just a little more stressed than normal, keep that in mind. Being near a window can really help manage that, okay? We wanna make sure that you have a space that has a good chair, that has a countertop or a desk so you can sit upright. I know that if in our regular learning settings, when we're in classrooms, I know a lot of students will just study in their beds, and you know, that's helpful for some people, but in our new context where we're going to class in our house and studying in our house, it's important that we have a space that allows us to sit upright. It helps with focus. It's also going to help with just your posture and your well-being. If you don't have a space that is physically comfortable, and not comfortable like sleeping, but comfortable for learning, you're going to start to develop some muscle pains and some bad posture, which can have some detrimental effects on focus as well. So desk, counter, chair, sit upright, stand up, that's going to be best for you, okay? We also want to make sure that when you are quote unquote in class or studying, you have all your materials within reach. So because we want really shorter focused study sessions, we don't want to have a lot of excuses to need to get up and go get something. So make sure that you have your pens, highlighters, markers, papers, all within reach. You have a snack or water if you think you're going to need that. We just want to have that all there for you. I'm seeing a question from Kelly, and she is asking, how do we set up a good study environment when we live with roommates and have to study in the living room? What if the room's naturally dark? Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're not going to have a lot of control over your environment, but you can do as best as you can, and set yourself up near a window if possible. That might mean rearranging the room. And the roommate issue is really challenging. It's challenging if they're roommates, it's challenging if they're family. But again, that is why sharing schedules might be a really good strategy for you in your household at this point. Might sound silly and cheesy, but maybe on Sundays, you guys all put your schedules on the fridge so everybody knows who's where doing what for the, 8 to 5 time period. That might be best. And if the room is naturally dark, you know, as much lighting as you can get, that's going to be positive for you. But that is where you may need to build in then on your breaks from studying, you step outside for a second and just give your eyes that natural light and the green to look at, and so get some fresh air and then go back in when you have to study, okay? Make sure that you're staying hydrated. Hydration also contributes a lot to a lack of focus, and it's really easy being at home with coffee and tea and all of our snacks to kind of get all built up on the sugars and caffeine, and that will drain you pretty quickly when you have your crash. So make sure that you have that, okay? And then a lot of research shows that indoor plants boost productivity, sometimes by 15%. So if you have an indoor plant, you know, put it on your desk, put it near you. Also, it produces, you know, oxygen, and it's going to be helpful for you. Again, just a natural element in your study environment that can help keep you a little more focused and a little more productive in your study time, okay? And the last thing, Kelly, I'd say is hopefully you have a desk, but you may need to kind of make a little makeshift one. So if you have an end table or even the end of a couch that you can have your device on, and then on your lap, maybe if you have a clipboard or a pad of paper, you can take notes during lecture. You want to set up a space as non-traditional as it may be that allows the device and the teaching to be in a firm setting that you aren't holding, so that you are free to take notes and kind of do the types of things you would do even in a classroom. Okay, so note taking and all of that. Okay, next slide is going to be about managing distractions. And I totally forgot about our first poll, but I will go ahead and take a poll now if that's okay, Sonia. We're going to put up a question for you guys about what distractions you have. So if you could quickly just take that poll, we'll talk about it a little bit with the results. And I don't think I can see the results, Sonia. There we are. So looking at it, which of the following distracts you most? Lack of quiet space to study. It looks like that's not the primary reason, which is great. I'm happy for you guys in that. Phone or social media, of course. Now that we are on the devices that pull all of our attention away constantly, that's going to be a really big struggle for everyone. And then family members and housemates, of course, that's going to be a transition. So I'm going to cover some ways to manage distraction, and then we'll loop back and hit on any of these poll items that we didn't get, okay? So what's going to be important is that, okay. You want to really pinpoint the cause, and it seems like most of you are able to really put your thumb on, or nail on the head, hit the nail on the head with what is causing you distraction. So we want to also look at our distractions as kind of dual figures. We have internal distractions, which are going to be about your physical well-being. Are you tired? Are you overstressed? Do you feel a lack of control? Are you hungry, right? Those things are going to be one type of distraction. The other is going to be external. So that could be space, people. I see somebody popped up, video games. That's going to be an external. So it's important when we're just identifying our stressors, because if we can't really pinpoint it, it can feel overwhelming and it feels like we can't approach it at all. So the number one thing to do if you're feeling like, man, I have so many distractions, I don't even know what to do, you want to first identify, okay, is this internal or external or both, right? So once we have an idea of what our distraction is, then we can address it, okay? So for example, if it's, oh, I'm hungry, I'm not eating enough throughout the day, then okay, I'm on my schedule. It may sound silly, but I'm obviously not eating because I'm distracted. So I'm going to build in snack time, right? And so it's being that specific with it that you can start to form a new habit that is healthier and that helps you manage the distraction without feeling angry or lashing out at others, right? If it's external, Okay, so, okay, it's definitely a lack of space, or we see, okay, I only have a bed to work on. So, okay, well, I can't have a new space and I can't buy a desk, right? That's not part of my option. So what am I going to do between the hours of 8 to 5 to set up my bed like a desk, right? So that might be, okay, I'm going to create a little desk area by stacking a few books and putting my laptop there. And I'm going to sit so my back is up against the wall to keep it straight, right? So it's being very unorthodox, working within your means, and it's absolutely, nobody's in a traditional setting at this point, but it's really, okay, with the tools that I have, what can I do to address this need? And we can all do something. That's the important thing to keep in mind, is that it might seem like, oh, I absolutely can't do this because I don't have money or I don't have the space, so I'm just not going to bother. We don't want to have that mindset. If we're looping all the way back to the beginning of this, it's mindset. So it's within my means, within the things that I have available to me, what can I do? I know I've even talked with a few students who don't have a desk, so they are, sounds weird, but they're sitting on a floor and working on the top of a chair to make that more like a desk for now. Okay, and it's working for them. All right, let's see, other questions. Video, so distractions of video games, social media, you know that you can block, you can not do those things. First of all, it's acknowledging and like say it out loud. You don't have to play video games. You don't have to check your social media. Yes, we've developed habits, but now is a time to reshape those habits. So it's understanding that you do have power in that situation first and foremost is really important to addressing the issue. Now, it may be actually wrapping up your system and putting it in a drawer Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, so you can focus on other things, and then pulling it out as a reward at the end of the day. That might be I would definitely say, most of the research out there says too, you don't start your day on video games or social media. You start your day, with something physical and getting breakfast and setting up your stage for learning. So we want to also, look at the way we start our day, and that's a place and a point that we can start to change habits pretty effectively. So I would say, get those distractions out of your face with the phone. Of course, I have my phone. The one thing is we don't need our phones for emergencies right now because we can't leave our house. So usually I would personally have my phone in every meeting, because if something happened to my daughter at school, I need to be able to help her. But she's not at school, she's in my home. So I can confidently put my phone away when I'm working and just work. And that's the same situation we're all in. So if there was an emergency with a family member, we can't do anything about it at this moment. So we don't have to be tied to our phone so much. And it's actually a little freeing to have that approach. So do your best to kind of put those distractions away. And because we're also working in short focus sessions, during your break, you can check your phone, right? I wouldn't get on video games during your break because you can fall down that rabbit hole, but checking phone can definitely happen. I see somebody talking about noise canceling headphones. Yes, if you have those, use those. My husband uses them here while we're working, because we have a dog and a kid and me and everybody talking, and he's able to ignore us all pretty effectively. So that might be your answer if you do have housemates and you just can't physically get away from them. That could be a great resource for you. And I see one more question from Kelly, or a comment. She's, what should you listen to if you thrive in completely quiet environments? I'm not sure. I don't know, because I don't have sound canceling headphones, if they'll just cancel out all the noise without there actually being something playing. But I know you can get a lot of like nature sounds, if that helps, or like wind or water. You could listen to that. I know on Spotify, there's also a few, if you want music but nothing with lyrics or nothing that you know already, there's a channel called Chill Beats, and that will just kind of play music that's nice. My husband calls it elevator music, but I like it. But it at least is some noise if you are one of those people that needs a little bit of noise in the background, but nothing that you know. So that's an option too, okay? So in terms of managing distraction, it's going to be, do I know what's going on here? And it might take you a day to think about it. And a really great thing to do at night is to bring forth like, what is my deal right now? Just bring it to your mind and go to sleep. Oftentimes your subconscious will work on it and you'll come up with an answer in the morning, okay? But we want to pinpoint the cause and then do something to address it. And right now, again, we have to be really flexible and fluid with our plans. We may try something and it might not work. That doesn't mean something else won't. That just means we tried something and now we've narrowed our vision a little bit more. We've eliminated an option and we can move towards a solution more effectively, okay? Some general tips for focus is working early in the morning can be really, really productive if you're getting up before everybody else in the house is up. And just kind of getting onto things, studying, doing work. One thing I think we've all found the first few days being home, we were like, oh yay, we get to be in our jammies all day or just relax. And that puts you in a mindset that is not productive. So getting up and still getting dressed, maybe not in your regular clothes, but having like your daytime loungewear versus your nighttime loungewear, right? Washing your face, brushing your teeth. Going through that morning routine can be really helpful with getting your brain in the mindset of working, okay? And then building in reward. And that's where I think you can use video games or social media or online shopping. I know that's an issue for me. I'm not buying anything, but I like to browse. But having that as a task to do when you finish your top 3 tasks on your MIT list or your goal for the day, right? Then rewarding yourself with that, okay? And I think that about wraps it up. If we can go to the last slide. So like I said, I am an academic coach at the Learning Center, and you can schedule appointments with me for free on Zoom, and we can have a one-on-one if you want to talk a little bit more about any of this. I also help students with the soft skills in terms of studying for your classes, reading, note-taking, all of that good stuff. So if you're in a class and you're not sure how to study right now or how to tackle an assignment because we're in this new platform, or you're just not learning it effectively, you can always schedule appointments with me and we can work on those things. So to schedule an appointment with me, it'd be the same as scheduling with an advisor. So you go to single sign-on, go to SSC Advising and Tutoring, and then you hit Get Help. But instead of hitting advisor, you're going to hit academic coach, and I'm the only one there. It's Jennifer Luarca. And then just select online appointment. And I just ask that you check your email the night before. I'll send you a link to our Zoom meeting, and then you and I can talk specifically about your coursework. We can share screens and all of that to really get into the content that you need help with. Okay. Do we have any more questions that anybody want to bring up anything in the chat before we end? Are we good? I appreciate your time. Like I said, tomorrow we are going to cover how to function and thrive in an online classroom. So we're going to cover participation strategies, ways to take notes during lecture, and some things you can do in the class. And then we're going to talk about study strategies you can use after class. Okay? There's our website. So this is the front page of our website. If you go over here to academic coaching, you're going to click on that. And then you're going to scroll down. Now, in the middle here is directions on how to schedule an individual appointment if you need to. Okay. And then scroll all the way down. We have an online learning checklist, things to think about. And then here are some resources. So if you click under time management, and then on this second one, use this sheet to help you identify study times throughout the week. That will bring up this grid, which is very simple, but I think can be really useful if you're just starting to think about, okay, what days and times do I want to work on different things? So again, really super simple grid. You can kind of plug in your times and go from there, okay? Anything else? Will the recording be, Sonia, they're asking if the recording will be emailed to them after the Zoom meeting?
Yes, so for GenExcel students, the link will be posted on Beachboard, so look for it there. And then for all the participants, we have your email addresses, so we'll be sharing the link with you within the next couple of days.
Okay. And I think that's it. Thank you. I hope you found this helpful. Again, feel free to reach out if you need more help, and we can meet online. And hopefully some of you will be here tomorrow at 1 for the next workshop.
Thank you so much, Jen.